Firstly, what is register? Register is the way someone speaks, writes, or the way that they use the different levels of language. Register can be broken up into two parts, formal register and informal register. The type of register you use will often depend on your audience. You can think of register as a dress code. You might be invited to a wedding where the dress code would be formal. You won't rock up to the party in your swimming costume, will you? The same thing applies if you're taking a holiday to the beach. You won't see someone in a tie and suit lounging all over the beach. Where will you use register? The long and short answer to this is everywhere in life. Let's start off by taking a closer look at formal register. You will use formal register when writing speeches, academic essays, literature essays, and any formal writing you will do up until grade 12 and beyond. Examples of where you should use a formal register is in formal letters, obituaries, letter to the editor, newspaper articles, literature essays, and any writing pieces that involves addressing it to a person in power, a person who's older than you, or a person who is above you. Think of formal register like a formal dress code. It is often associated with being uptight, stuffy, and boring. Remember, you may not use contractions like don't and won'ts while using or writing informal register. Let's have a look at informal register. This is the register you will use when you're speaking or writing to family or friends. It may also be more relaxed. Here are examples of where you may use informal writing in your class. A friendly letter, a magazine article, an email, depending on who you're sending it to, and a blog post. You can think of an informal register as wearing shorts and a t-shirt. That's very informal. A tip with informal register is to always remember to not speak or write as if you're sending a WhatsApp message or a DM to your friends. Let's look at examples on the next slide. Firstly, let's look at an example for formal register. Write an email addressed to your teacher asking when extra classes will be for term 3. Now, looking at it first, you must insert the correct address in the to block. Your subject must be clear and to the point. Don't write a lengthy subject. This may annoy others, especially in a working environment where information needs to be shared quickly and efficiently. Always use a formal greeting like good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, or you can even say good day. Always include the person's name to try make it personal. If you don't know the person's name, you use ma'am or sir. Include I hope you are well. This is a polite gesture. How would you feel if someone asks you to do something without even saying, hello, how are you? The body of your email should cover all areas and questions you need information for. Be clear and concise. Get to the point. Avoid asking any kinds of or using any kinds of slang, jargon, or informal language. End off your email with kind regards, another polite gesture or part of email etiquette. Let's read the email together. Good morning, Mrs. Breedenkamp. I hope you are well. I'm contacting you regarding extra classes for term 3. On what days will the extra classes take place? What venue will be used? And what time should I be there? Thank you for your time. Kind regards, Casey de Beer. Now, let's look at informal register on the next slide. An informal email example. Write an email address to your grandparent that lives overseas, asking about their health. Here's an informal email that should be addressed to your grandparents. You are not going to be super formal with your grandparent, are you? No. However, this is not a WhatsApp message. Firstly, your subject will be clear and concise and to the point, just like in a formal register. Your greeting will be similar. Remember, it's not a WhatsApp message. Please don't write, hey Gran. In the body of the email, you may use contractions and some colloquial and conversational language. Remember to always think about the audience that you're writing or speaking to. End off your email with sincerely. This type of greeting is reserved for someone who knows you well. Let's have a look at what it says. Good morning, Granny. I hope you are well. How has your health been since you had COVID? Last time I heard from you, you said that your heart was taking a bit of strain. I'm very excited for my trip in September holidays. I can't wait to spend time with you. I have booked my airplane tickets for the 20th and I'll arrive on the 21st. I hope that you start feeling better soon. Sincerely, Casey de Beer. Let's practice on the next slide. Now it's your turn. Check in your booklet for this activity and complete it. The format for both transactional writing pieces will be included in your booklet. Firstly, formal register. Write a formal letter between 150 to 200 words to your principal requesting to leave early from school for a doctor's appointment. Remember to use the correct format and do not use contractions. Informal register. Write a blog post about your passion between 150 to 200 words. Remember the correct format. Let's move on to slang. Firstly, what is slang? I'm sure you've come across different slang words on Instagram or TikTok. You know, those words that your parents and teachers don't understand. Slang can be described as words or phrases that are very informal. We never use slang in writing or speaking at school unless it is completely and absolutely necessary. Slang is often unique to certain groups of people. Think of teenagers in the Gen Z era. The slang words I used when I was younger are very different to the ones being used now. Slang is also unique to different parts of the world. Let's take South Africa, for example. We have many slang words that people outside of South Africa don't understand. These words include lekker, eish, braai, just now, ach shame, now, and hawa. Remember that slang will always change over time. The next slide is for tips and tricks when using slang in speaking and writing at school. Slang is very informal, so try to avoid it in your writing. Never ever use slang in a formal register. Only include slang if it is absolutely and completely necessary for your audience to understand the context of your writing. If you do use slang, use inverted commas to indicate this. Have a look at my example. Always be mindful of your audience. Your audience, will they understand this reference? You always have to think of that when using slang. What is colloquial language? This is language that we use in everyday speech and that should actually be avoided when using a formal register. Synonyms include conversational, informal, vernacular, or everyday language. Let's look at examples on the next slide. Examples of colloquial language. I didn't get my 40 winks last night. The phrase over there, 40 winks, means that you didn't sleep properly. Are you gonna be there this weekend? This, along with wanna, is an absolute favorite of teenagers today. We should change it to, are you going to be there this weekend? I want to play first team so badly. Wanna should be changed to want to. Stop slacking off. We know that slacking off means to be lazy. It's a no-brainer. Everyone is going to the mall this weekend. A no-brainer is obviously a clear decision, an obvious decision. So, although we speak like this, it doesn't mean that words and phrases should be showing up in your writing and speaking at school. What is dialect? Dialect is how someone speaks English. It's often based on region, ethnicity, and socio-economic background of a person. For example, you may have heard this, people from Gauteng say fish, while people from KwaZulu-Natal may say fish. We often see this in British English. Remember, we use British English versus American English. Let's have a look at the examples that I've given over here. In American English, they may say lemon drop, whereas in British English, we would say sherbet lemon. Or an ice pop. British English would say ice lolly. Scotch tape in American English would be sellotape. A baked potato in American English is a jacket potato in British English. You can see that how English, or how we use English as South Africans, is very much meshed together. What is jargon? Jargon is specific words used in a particular profession. Only people in that profession will understand these words. Avoid using jargon unless it is to enhance your writing style and to enhance the reader's understanding. Let's look at some examples you may actually be quite familiar with. Firstly, school-based assessment, or an SBA. The RCL, a representative council of learners. Prepared oral assessment, it's just a speech. Or the SGB, the school governing body. This is educational jargon that you may be familiar with. Let's look at other examples of jargon on the next slide. Here are wonderful examples of educational jargon and medical jargon. We can see on the education side, perhaps we have education buzzwords, project-based learning, blended learning, 21st century skills. As an educator, I understand these terms. People outside of my profession perhaps may not. Let's look at the medical jargon. Some words I may not understand, or people who are studying medicine definitely will. Diabetes, complications, respond, insulin, pancreas. All of these different types of jargon make it easier for people to understand within their profession. I hope this lesson helped you understand what register is. Next up is comprehension. Bye!